What's going on, everybody? Welcome to CloudCentral Vape Reviews. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to do a juice review for White Label Juice Company, talk about the Darkhorse atomizer, some stuff I've noticed about the IPV Mini, and talk about some future plans with Zampa Box and doing reviews with one of my buddies. So, yeah, let's jump right into it. We're going to take a look at White Label Juice Company today. And they sell 100 milliliter bottles for $20 max VG. You can buy those every day of the week, and then they also do on Sundays they have a sample box, but it's limited time sample box, so it sells out very fast, and that's three 30 ml bottles for $20. Right now I have vanilla custard, strawberry custard, and watermelon sour belt from White Label Juice Company, and my watermelon sour belt is in 6 milligram, and I'm vaping 0.3 ohms at 70 watts right now, so 6 milligrams kind of tears me up, so I'm not going to be vaping that in the video. But this stuff, as you can see, I went through quite a lot of the bottle. You saw in my other videos if you watched them, but I've had this for a couple weeks now, and that's how much I got left. I kind of just got used to it about halfway through, and oops, and it gets kind of old after a couple weeks, but I think that's how it is with about any juice. But still, I mean, if I run out, I have 15-20 mils in the bottom of that bottle I can use. Vanilla custard is a great vape for hanging out for a few hours. No, I would not say an all-day vape. It's one of them flavors that's really good. You have a nice vanilla right away, and it's sweet and custardy and delicious, and then after like 2 or 3 hours of vaping on it, you kind of just only get like a little bit of a sweet custardy flavor. You don't taste any vanilla. And yeah, so I got both of these bottles about I'd say 5 days ago, and as you can see, this strawberry custard is my favorite juice. One of the best juices I've ever had, and for the price, it's just incredible. I got these two in 3 milligram. When you buy these bottles, they come with just a little white cap holding it on, and then in the package there will be these little drippers, which I think are pretty neat. I haven't seen any bottles like this, and you just twist it up and then you drip it out. But if you're using like a billow, or a lot of rebuildable tank atomizers have just a little fill screw at the bottom, and that's you can't fill it with that. That's just too big. So that's why I threw this dripper and this one. And yeah, but I've been loving White Label Juice. I'd definitely go check them out. It's delicious juice for a great price. I've never seen 100 ml bottles for $20. I mean, I've heard of a couple places that you can get stuff like that, but they take like months to ship. With White Label, downside is it's going to take, well, I live in Iowa, it ships out of California. Usually I can get stuff within 4 to 5 days from California, and well, 3 to 5 days. With White Label, it takes a week to 2 weeks to get here. And so if you order it and you're sitting around for a week and you're like, well, what the hell, and it hasn't come yet, it's because it takes a while. But don't be freaked out and cancel your order. Just be ready to wait a couple weeks. But for 100 mils for 20 bucks, I mean, it's definitely worth the wait. I've only tried these 3 flavors so far. Strawberry custard, I would think anybody would love it. I mean, if you've never had a custard flavor before, it seems like a lot more dense, warm vapor, and the strawberry flavor in that is perfect. It's like a fruity, well, duh, it's like fruity. It's like I don't, it's like a perfect strawberry flavor. It's not too like syrupy, and it's not too light. It's very good. Alright, on to the Darkhorse. Now, I've never done a review for this because this comes with a big wide bore drip tip that is, I would think it's a little bit bigger than that. And I was, like, the first day I had it on a mech mod, and I was out drinking with some buddies, and I broke it somehow. Next day I woke up and it was all crooked and unscrewed and it was destroyed. So, yeah, I would do a review for this, but I don't have that drip tip, and I don't know if this is the original drip tip that came with it or not. That's what I'm using on there. So I just want to show you guys the airflow on this, because if you're like me, you love to vape warm. I like my vapes a little bit warm, a lot of airflow, so I can just, you know, fill up your whole chest full of vapor real fast. And this guy is perfect if you want to blow clouds, especially with that big drip tip on there. Like, you're gonna blow some big clouds. Like, I'll take another rip. 70 watts, 0.3 ohms at 4.8 volts. It's working great. Yeah, it's working excellent. I'll try to go up close. Well, not up close. I'm just gonna try to show you guys these the airflow options for the Dark Horse, because wow, it's vapey in here today. But I just wanted to show you guys because it's really unique. So this top piece here threads on, and so you pull that off, and then it has your I don't know if that's Delrin or whatever that is, but it has this little cap that comes on there. And then with your original drip tip, you just pop that little black piece out, and then your drip tip slides right up in, and it clips in. It works great. So then you have, ooh, I might need that guy. So then you have this guy. This is what you control your airflow with. And that slides just right on there and sits on there. So when you go to adjust your airflow, you have to loosen this top piece. You have to unscrew that a little bit, and then you adjust your airflow where you want it, and you tighten it back down. Which right away I was kind of skeptical. I was like, that's going to be a pain in the ass, but it works great. Especially, like, I'll show you the airflow options so you'll see what I'm talking about. That is the biggest airflow slot I've ever seen, and it's just incredible. That's what I like to vape on. I don't even always open it up all the way. There's 3 slots on there, so you can twist it, and you can only shut one slot off at a time. So either you can shut the smallest one off, or you can, I don't know what you guys are seeing, but you can shut the biggest one or the smallest one off. And you can get a perfect amount of airflow if you want. If you want a little bit tighter draw, there's these, there's those slots, these guys, and when that top cap goes on there, it just has that line that divides them. There's also a spot for single single coil in there, and that works really good too. I don't like to vape anything with just single coils. But yeah, that's just a little bit about the Dark Horse. I wanted to talk about it just because it's really a great dripper if anybody wants it. I wouldn't say the craziest dripper for flavor, but I get awesome flavor off it. I know, like, I watched Grim Green's review a long time ago about it, and he said that he wasn't getting any flavor off it wide open. Well, I do. I'm building up 0.3 at 70 watts especially. I get awesome flavor. With this white label, it's delicious. Coming up, I should have my sample box coming in, and I plan to go to my buddy's house and do a review with him. He has an iStick 50 watt, and I don't know if he'll have his mellow by then, but he's getting a mellow sub-ohm tank. So I'm gonna bring a couple RDAs over and throw one on his iStick 50, and we're just gonna go through all the juices. Probably be a decently long video, and we're just gonna talk about them, what we think, what's delicious, what's fucking horrible. Yeah, so while I'm there, I'll do a quick talk about his iStick 50 watt, which I rather enjoyed when last time I tried it out. I noticed that it is super light. Like, it's not heavy, but it's decently heavy. It has some weight. That iStick 50 watt is like really light, especially for 4400 mAh battery. It'll last you a couple days. Yeah, it's super light. Only downside is I only have 24 gauge Canthal in right now, so I'm waiting on some 26 gauge, but I can only, like, the highest I can build is like 0.3 ohms on a dual coil. And at 0.3, especially in the Dark Horse, 50 watts just doesn't push it to that point where it's nice warm vapor. Yeah, that's delicious. Yeah, so I want to go over and we'll do all that. We'll talk about Zampa Box, we'll talk about the iStick 50, and have him talk a little bit about stuff he's reviewing. His channel is the Boss of Sauce Vape Review, so you can go over and check him out. He already has an iStick 50 watt review, so you can check that out. He vapes on the Aspire Atlantis, I believe, and he loves it. But he's got that mellow coming in. He wants to try the Japanese organic cotton, which is what I typically use in here, but I just ran out, and so I gotta wait for that to come in too. So I'm just using a normal cotton ball right now. Still works great. Yeah, so hopefully you'll have that in. We'll check that out too. I want to talk about another juice company. I don't know if I've ever said anything about, but Mount Baker Vapor is, this stuff is totally what got me into vaping. Like, when I first started, I'm at 1 year right now vaping, and when I first started, I was buying store-bought, like, little small town shit, you know, from, like, not a gas station, from, like, whatever, just little head shops, and you get, like, 70/30 PGVG stuff. Stuff I was buying was Tasty Puffs, and I don't have a PG allergy like a lot of people, so PG doesn't bother me, but I've noticed it's a much more dry vape. Like, with VG, it's more of a wet, warm vape. With PG, it's kind of a dry, almost like a cigarette feeling, which for some people might really like that, but be careful, because they say like 80% of people have an allergic reaction or an allergy to PG. I don't think it's going to make your throat swell shut and you're going to die, but yeah, so when I first started 1 year ago, I was using store-bought little e-cig and the little clear misers that came on top, and those things sucked. I mean, when I first had it, it was great. It worked great. I was chewing, and I chewed for about 5 years, smoked cigarettes on and off for about 4 years, and I completely dropped them both. My lungs were shot from smoking cigarettes, and I couldn't even, my teeth felt like they were going to fall out from chewing, so I just had to make a change. And so got the vape, worked great until I broke it, got another one, same one, and I broke it. And then I went out and I went to a gas station, and they had a Pro Tank, which compared to them little clear misers was massive. And this was a year ago, so then the Pro Tank was kind of like the big news, well, for what I was seeing, and I screwed that on there, and it was like just not even enough power at all to rock that Pro Tank. So I was like, all right, well, there has to be bigger stuff out there to run these bigger tanks. And so I went online and I found a mod. I ordered that. Within like 3 days, I dropped it. I was getting out of my truck, fell off my lap, which probably happened to everybody once or twice, and my button to go up and down on my wattage got stuck. And so when you tried to vape it, you'd hit the power button, and it would go all crazy. It wouldn't work. So then I went and I got an MVP, like the first MVP, and I loved that for a long time. It worked for, I'd probably say 6 or 7 months. It worked awesome. And then I went out to, there's a vape shop about 2 hours away from me, and I drove down there with a couple of friends, and I bought a mech mod, a telescoping mod, and I bought just a little cheap RDA, and that I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know, like, it was such a different type of vape, and I just couldn't figure out how to do the builds or anything like that, so I kind of threw that to the side for a long time, and I was just buying tanks, you know. And then one of my friends I work with was like, he was at the same point I was. He had an MVP, and he was like, I want to get into rebuilding. So he bought it, and he did a bunch of research and figured out how to build, showed me, you know, the basics of it. Then I kind of picked up the rest. And then since then, I really just don't have interest in tanks that come with pre-made coils. Not because there's a little bit of a different type of vape with them, and it's not really that I don't like that type of vape. It's just, if I can rebuild it, it's much easier for me, especially like if I'm vaping this at work. I don't want to be chucking just like I don't need that at work, not at all. So I can go on here and I can do a different build. I can do a single coil or do whatever I want, and I won't have that much vapor coming out, which is nice. That's one thing I really like about rebuildables. So if you vape just normal tanks right now and you are questionable about rebuildables, I would say totally get into it. I'm gonna do some build videos throughout this week, just of stuff I'd like to do. I only have 24 gauge right now, so it's all going to be like 0.2, 0.3 ohm builds. But I mean, 0.2 ohms on a mech mod that you're getting 3.7 volts is pretty great. I mean, it's awesome for a long time. Like right now, I'm 4.8 volts, 0.3 ohms at 70 watts. So 4.8 volts is way more power than 3.7 volts. So I just going to my mech mod. It's still nice. It's just not quite as powerful as this IPV Mini. I looked at getting the turbo because I said in one of my videos I was going to get the turbo and try to do a review on that. But even for the clone of the turbo, like I've talked about in one of my other videos, I buy clones. I love clones, but even for the clone, it was like 40, 45 bucks, and I was hesitant, and I'm not sure. I'm gonna give it a couple more weeks, see if the price drops. If it's around like 30, 35 bucks, it's definitely worth it. But $40 to $45 is just a little bit outrageous, especially for something that is gonna make noise when I vape on it, which is neat. It's cool. It cools down your vape, and you blow crazy clouds with it. But where am I gonna do that? If I'm walking through public and I'm like making noises, people are gonna look at me fucking weird. They already do. I mean, when I'm walking through the mall and I'm just blowing clouds, people are like, what in the fuck is that guy doing? But yeah, I'm sure you guys know how that is too. But so hopefully I will get my sample box within the next couple days. Go to my buddy's house, we'll do all that stuff, get a review up for that. I'll do a couple build videos this week. I'm gonna try and talk to eCiggity, see if I can just get that big dripper that comes on this. I wouldn't even call it a dripper, it's just like a fucking hole, but it's just a giant wide bore. See if I can get that from them, get a replacement, and yeah, and I want to try to get a dual 18650. Oh, I wanted to talk about this IPV. I'm loving it. It's been awesome. For a while, I was only really using my billow on here. I was using my RDAs on my mech mods, and then I kind of pulled a little bit away from the billow, and I started putting these on here, and I've been vaping between 55 and 70 watts. And with a single 18650 between 55 and 70 watts, I will drain well, I got this 4 or 5 days ago, and that's how much I vape. So, plus I've been vaping on other stuff too. So like I vape a lot compared to the people I know, and I've been going through batteries like crazy. I mean, I have 3 batteries I rotate through this IPV, and throw them all on the charger at night, wake up in the morning, and 3 hours into the morning, when in the morning I'm always just ripping on this constantly, and I suck down a battery in probably 2.5, 3 hours. Go to work, battery will last me 4 to 5 hours, and then I have my 3rd battery I throw on and finish off the night, and then when I get home, I have enough charge to get another one fully charged to throw in here. So I really want to get a dual 18650 regulated mod. I don't really just want to get an unregulated, because unless you're going series, you're still just going to be pulling at 3.7 volts, and I'd like to be able to go higher than that. But also, they're way expensive. I mean, for any regulated mod, it's expensive. And $70 for this guy is, I would say, totally worth it. But it's still $70 you're spending on an e-cig. And then a lot of those regulated dual 18650s are in the hundreds to 300s, however much money you want to spend on one. So yeah, I don't care. I'm gonna buy one of these days, and I'll definitely do some reviews for that. Series box mods, like I was just talking about, I didn't know anything about them until I just saw Vaping with Twisted 420 has done a couple videos about series, and they just look crazy. Like, for people that don't know, the difference between, it'll be a parallel 18650 unregulated, and what that does is that pulls your 3.7 volts from your battery, but gives you double the battery life. So when you go series, it basically like stacking 2 18650s, 3.7 volts, you're getting double that, and you're going through the same amount of battery. Like you won't have double the battery life. You have the same battery life as you would on just a single 18650. You just have double the power, which is cool, which is something that I feel like I need. I don't need, I want, and I would love it because you can blow ridiculous clouds with them. Like when I was watching Twisted's video, he did a like 0.9 ohm coil, and he was vaping on it. It was just crazy, and he said if he built that to 0.2 with the series box mod, it'd be pulling like 300 watts. So I would, if you ever want to get one of those, make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you have an ohm reader and you have an idea of the ohm law and safe batteries, and just make sure you know what you're doing, because getting into one of those, if you built a 0.2 ohm coil and you ripped that and it was like 300 watts and you didn't do something right, like you could really damage your lungs, you could damage your throat. So be careful. Yeah, I don't have much else to talk about, guys. Go check out White Label Juice Company. Check out Mount Baker Vapor. Great deals on Mount Baker Vapor. Awesome deals on this White Label Juice Company. Yeah, and if you feel like it, if you don't want to just buy a 100 ml bottle, I totally get that. You can go on a Sunday morning and just try to get in and get one of their sample packs. And three 30 mils for 20 bucks. You can't really beat that, especially if, I mean, it's quality good juice. Yeah, check all that out. Mount Baker Vapor. They have a create your own juice thing, which my friend keeps doing. If you guys go check out Boss of Sauce Vape Review, he has some videos about the create your own flavor. It's really neat. Yeah, so that's gonna be all for today, guys. Hopefully, I'll do some build videos this week. See how busy I am at work, and I'll do some build videos. I will try to get some stuff ordered. I'll do my sample box, so we'll check out all that shit. So we'll have a decently busy week. So thanks for joining me, guys, and have a good day.